Welcome to Inspiration Contagion, the podcast for leaders, founders, and changemakers. Here we explore real stories from transformational business leaders who face fear, uncertainty, and growth head on. Let's lead with inspiration on purpose. Welcome back to Inspiration, another happy new year. We are welcoming this week Anna Felix. She turned a life-altering loss into a financial awakening that changed everything. After becoming a widow in 2010, she realized the money advice women were given was outdated and incomplete. Today, she helps women build financially bulletproof lives using smart, conventional strategies you will not hear from traditional finance. With that, welcome, Anna.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. So we're just going to start off by asking my favorite question is, what makes you an inspirational leader, or what's your secret sauce?
Well, I think it's just that I'm really good at listening. And I really want to know, especially in the field that I'm in with clients, I really want to know what it is that they want, what they're looking to do, and just really help them get there. And so it's not about you should do this and this and this, or you haven't done this or that. None of us want to hear that. We want to just know that there are some steps that we can take forward that are going to help us. And so I really listen and then help them do that. And then I always like to say, I really try to make this as easy and as stress-free as possible, because money is a stressful thing. And, if you feel like you're behind or you're not sure what to do, it brings up a lot of stress. And so I really try to make it easy to understand, simple to execute.
Yeah, my goodness. When it comes to money, I know we don't work in the same way that you do with folks around money, but issues or mindsets or beliefs around money come up pretty frequently. And it's very eye-opening when we work with clients on mindset around that. So when it comes to tactical implementation around money, listening, creating a safe space, not overwhelming people or getting them out of comparison and despair is a very powerful secret sauce. So I guess alongside that, what would you define inspiration, or what does that mean to you?
For me, inspiration is just that you are continuing to move forward and you do it with as much clarity as possible. And even when it's hard, like not always, there are some days when it is super difficult, but if you just keep going, I think that is inspiration. I'm not one of those people that has lots of, fancy sayings or are really, things that can maybe inspire someone to do something. But I think it's really just about every day continuing moving forward one step in front of the other, and not really just doing the best that you can every day without keeping score. Like I think too often we're taught, keep score. This is an amazing day. What were the numbers? But just, powerfully moving forward through the good times, through the difficult times, but just really staying the course, I think is something that we can all do regardless of where we are and regardless of what we're going through.
The goal is a 1% growth each day over the course of the year. If you do that, you're growing 365%, and eventually momentum picks up and it becomes easier, and those seeds that you planted start to bloom. So I guess my question would be, in regards to peak performance, now that we're talking about that forward momentum and how that looks different each day, how do you define peak performance, and how did you arrive at this definition?
That's funny because when I've heard peak performance in the past, because I've not really ever been a real athletic person, I always attributed it, to something athletic related, like it was about speed, it was about, that type of thing. But having been in business over a decade, what I really find it to be is that you are doing meaningful work every day, and you are helping someone in a way that potentially no one else can help them in, and in a form that can really make a difference in their life. And so for me, it's about the meaningful work that I'm doing, the difference that I make every day. And sometimes, to your point earlier, it's not necessarily like a huge thing, but I've had people come back later and say, that one distinction, that one thing that you told me set the platform for me to be able to do so much more, right? And so that is helping them reach a peak performance as well, right? So I just really feel like it's the meaningful work that we do, and doing it in a way that, is really empowering them to do things that maybe they potentially thought weren't possible. And so it's that 1%, right? It just changes the complete trajectory of where someone's going.
Yeah, and that's a good reminder. A lot of times when we just show up as the best version of how we are that day, you never know how just a phrase you say, a compliment that you pay, a strategy, a tactic, a delivery of something might change the course of somebody's life. For example, this past weekend for my birthday, we went to see a musical, and one of the songs in there was so powerful and aligned to another message somebody else shared with me that it changed the course of how I'm implementing things on a personal and business level. So you never know how your unique gift and how you show up, even on your worst days, can change somebody's life forever. That's
I love
beautiful.
that.
So obviously on the road to, peak performance in business and in life, there's all these kinds of speed bumps. What are some speed bumps or obstacles that you have faced that were the highlights on your road to success in business today?
I think initially one of them was just, not thinking that I was good enough at this, that I had enough to bring. When you're new in this industry, it can be cutthroat, and it's a difficult industry. And so in the beginning, it was like, these people have been in business 20, 30 years. Who am I? I'm doing this in a very different way. I'm providing different strategies. Like, how can this be? And then I really just realized that that was what made it so special, was that it was unique, that it was different, that I am doing this in a way that, women have not been served in this manner before. And so that was the thing that made it special, and that meant that this was really something that mattered, and that I should continue to do that. And turning something that could be have been potentially negative and maybe, kept me from continuing, ended up being the thing that really helped me realize, wow, I've got to do more of this, right? And not letting that hold me back, because in the beginning, it was hard for me.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think this happens a lot with people in the healing space, the holistic space, as well as women, where the thing that we are most talented and uniquely set up to serve is the thing where we have the most imposter syndrome because it is disrupting the traditional sense of how that service is delivered. And so I just like to remind people, when you're facing that, if you're tuning into this and this is resonating, the only person you need permission from is yourself. And the only person who has answers is yourself. And you're going to start seeing some resonance with the clients you serve, as long as they're the right clients you want to attract and that are the correct people that you are meant to serve based on the pain point you're addressing. But it's really important to remember that if you're a disruptor, of course, it's going to feel uncomfortable because nobody's ever done it that way before. And so you're paving the way to a new pathway forward, and good for you. Right?
Yeah. If you could just, if you just knew these things when you're going through them, right? That's why
Yeah.
being able to look back and say, wow, had I only know that. But that's where the growth comes from, and that's what's exciting about the journey.
Yeah. Well, and the more you face it, you'll have new areas that you're shedding light for new imposter syndrome. And I think the more you just become used to and acquainted with when that comes up and how it shows up for you, it's easier to overcome it faster and not get in your own way, not ask anybody else for permission. It just takes time and practice. And speaking of that, how have you created a culture of peak performance within your company, whether it's your employees, with your clients, with vendors you work with?
Yeah. So it's interesting because the model that I work in, like, we're all kind of agents in our own business, but we collectively come together and train together. And I really appreciate that, because early on in my career, I was kind of just all by myself. And it's really helpful when you have people that you are aligned with, that you can work with. So for others that I work with, we've really created this atmosphere of helping each other, whether that benefits us personally from a revenue standpoint or not, just really uplifting our skills and being there to help each other has been really helpful. Because sometimes, you come across, a situation that is really complicated, has a ton of moving parts, and being able to have people that I can depend on to say, hey, you've been doing this a little bit longer than me. Can you help me see what I'm not seeing is really important. And then, with my clients, it's just we have a communication, an open communication all the time. And we do that regularly. And I feel like that's really important. Industry wise, it's like, you meet once a year, maybe. Sometimes that isn't the case. But I really love being in touch with them, knowing, any types of things that change or any questions that they may have. Or sometimes you forget, why am I doing this again? Life gets busy and a quarter goes by and you're just like, okay, now I need to remember, why am I doing this? And so I feel like frequent communication and just, checking in with them, and them knowing that, if they have a question, I'll frequently get a call from a client and they'll be like, oh, I'm so glad you answered, because I just seen this thing and I had this question. And I just really am overjoyed that they feel like they can just, randomly without an appointment, call and ask a question. And I'm even happier if I'm actually available when they call. But, often it's, I'm going to be able to get to them within a couple of hours. And so having that open communication has been great.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's why with our consulting clients, we offer on-demand open text and email support, because we don't want them awake at night worrying about something or stuck on something where they have a deliverable to, give to the team. And it's very important to have that open container of dialogue and also a safe space where they don't feel judged. There's like no stupid questions, no, stupid asks that you can have regarding us supporting you. And then also building that tribe of professionals that can support you both personally and professionally, so you have a space to lean on, because otherwise it gets really, really, really lonely. I'm sure people listening to this are familiar with that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to pivot and talk about money, which I have a feeling you'll enjoy speaking about. So I'm very curious, when have you left money on the table in your business, and what did you do to fix it?
100% not asking for the business. Meet with a client and, just you're getting the conversation and you don't actually ask them to do business with you. And that was something I did a lot in the beginning. And every once in a while, you get a client that you just feel like, wow, I don't know. Like, they have 3 other advisors and I have just learned, if obviously, it's not something nobody knows, but if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And so if you ask, there is that possibility that yes, you're going to be able to get it. And so, I often left money on the table for not doing that. And I have just learned that just ask the question. And, most of the time when you do, you are met with, yes, absolutely. They are waiting for you to guide them, right? Like you're there to help them. And so the next step is, well, if you would like this, I can definitely help you and guide you in this. And, is that what you want to do? If you don't ask, then, they're going to be like, well, no, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, this is good information, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. So, and I have since then implemented that. Don't ever not ask.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you how many calls I've had with people that I wanted to hire. And we get on a sales call. They have an amazing solution. I've already researched them. I'm already a yes. And they don't ask for the sale. And I'm like, okay, 1, this doesn't reflect well on you. 2, how do we do business together? And then 3, a lot of times they become my client, plus I use their service. And it's because they're not asking for business and they don't even know that they're leaving all this money on the table. And I think a lot of times it's people's relationship to money or feeling intimidated by certain individuals they have calls with, or creating these storylines that just simply aren't real. But if you feel like you can help them, you have good chemistry with them, you get a good vibe from them, their values are aligned, it's mission and vision aligned, then if you're not asking them, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just ask the question. Put a Post-it on your computer that says, just ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The worst thing they're going to say is no or not right now. And not right now doesn't mean no. That means yes later. So come on, guys, ask. Do yourself a favor. All right, this has been great, Anna. We're going to do 2 rapid fire wrap up questions. So, question 1, what is the best piece of advice you would share with others today?
Take the step forward, even if you don't have it all figured out. We often feel like we got to have it all figured out. I got to have, all the ducks in the row or pigeons or whatever it is, but you don't have to. You totally can just take a step forward with the clarity that you have now, and you will figure it out as you move forward.
My goodness, if we had to have all the answers, none of us would be in business. Just saying. Love it. Love it. What is the legacy you wish to leave behind?
Really want women to come away from our conversation feeling empowered, like they have clarity and that they can do this. That even if they came feeling like, oh, I don't know, there's a lot of moving parts, I'm not sure, I want them to walk away feeling like, yes, I've got this together. This is why I got in the business, and it continues to be the thing that makes me excited about doing it every day, is being able to have more and more women feel that way.
I love it. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Anna. For our listeners, if you want to learn more about Anna, you want to consider working with her, all of her links will be in the show notes, or if you're watching this on YouTube, in the YouTube comments or the YouTube notes, please connect with Anna. If you found this inspiring, also please share it with somebody else today so we can spread inspiration like a contagion. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you.
Thanks for spending your time with me today. If this episode supported you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who needs it. When inspiration spreads, real impact follows. I'll see you next time.